He then left to make his way as usual to the Mount of Olives, with the disciples following. When they had reached the place, he said to them, "Pray not to be put to the test." Then he withdrew from them, about a stone's throw away, and knelt down and prayed. "Father," he said, "if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, let your will be done, not mine." Then an angel appeared to him, coming from heaven to give him strength. In his anguish he prayed even more earnestly, and his sweat fell to the ground like great drops of blood. Then he rose from prayer and went to the disciples and found them sleeping for sheer grief. "Why are you asleep?" he said to them. "Get up and pray not to be put to the test." He was still speaking when a number of men appeared, and at the head of them the man called Judas, one of the 12, who went up to Jesus to kiss him. Jesus said, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" His followers, seeing what was happening, said, "Lord, shall we use our swords?" And one of them struck out at the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. But at this Jesus spoke. "Leave off," he said, "that will do." And touching the man's ear, he healed him.
I have a picture of the apostles following Jesus up the hill to the garden. And they've just come from a supper in which he did some extraordinary things. He washed their feet, and then he took bread and the wine and said, "This is me." And there was a question of betrayal, and they questioned each other about this. So it's been an evening of some confusion, and now he goes, as he usually did, to the garden. So they're following him, and I often wonder what they were discussing along the way. Earlier time, as they followed him, they were discussing which of them was the greatest. But I don't think that would have been on their minds this night. Something had changed in Jesus, that there was an intensity in him, there was some premonition almost that things were about to happen that they instinctively felt they would have no control over,
or be able to understand.
Yes. So the coming into that garden was a huge step that they took. Jesus going to pray and telling them not to pray yourselves, that you not be put to the test. With all that had happened, I don't blame them for collapsing. They were just so exhausted trying to work out just where is this going? What's this all about?
Well, the challenges of what they had seen during the evening as well. What does this really mean? What does it mean for us as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Another interesting thing I hear, like in this version, several of them had swords, but we don't usually associate the apostles as carrying any kind of armour. Yes. But they mention, shall we draw our swords? So there's another kind of link there, that they've yet to grasp that Jesus' whole mission was not a military mission.
And that he was not a king in the sense that they understood. He was a heavenly king. Yes. I often sort of reflect on this, particularly the situation that Jesus was in. He knew that his time was coming to an end, and that there was a time on earth, and that there was suffering. He knew that this was all to face him. And just to go quietly into the Garden of Olives, which is a place he often retreated to, wasn't it,
Mm-hmm.
for prayer.
Mm.
And his disciples went with him, and yet they were not with him.
Yeah.
They were there, but they were not really there for him. For some reason they had tagged along, but it wasn't really an involvement in what was happening to him or what he was suffering. They were totally unaware of
Yeah,
that.
that's right. There's that physical distance between them, isn't it? He's out there and they're kind of following, not really knowing what they were going into or whether they really wanted to. But at that time there was nowhere else, nothing else for them to do.
But I guess Jesus had gone and prayed there often. So this was a sort of fairly routine
That's right.
activity for him. So, maybe they didn't think they needed to. They just
That's a good way. It's another way of looking at it, that they could have well thought, well, we'll get this night over and it'll be back to normal. Let him get it out of his system, that sort of thing. We've had a long day, so he'll be okay.
Yes.
I don't know what he's asking us to keep watch for. We've been here before. It's fine.
And Jesus had asked them, pray not to be put to the test.
Yep.
And he,
A little bit of the Lord's Prayer coming in there for us.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
Deliver us from evil.